Welcome to the last Israel update of May 2024. Halok Young from Modi'in, Israel, and you're going to give an update in just a few moments. But first of all, we do have a bit of a announcement or whatever regarding the Israel tour, Connect Israel tour. At this moment in time, we've got some hurdles, some major hurdles, but I'm trying to overcome them, and some things that are just totally out of our control regarding having a tour in Israel. So if anyone is interested in going, this would be September 8th to the 20th of 2024. I need to know that you're interested by tomorrow, Thursday,
Yeah,
of May 31st, May 30th. When I get up tomorrow morning and look at my phone, I've got to base what I have there and what the things that we have to deal with in Israel, and put that together and make a final decision tomorrow. So it's in your court. The cost of the tour is $25.50, and that plus your airfare. Airfare is going to run about $2,000. But this is going to be a very different tour. We won't be going up past the Galilee. We will be basing out of Jerusalem for the most part. So it's in everybody's hands right now regarding that. If you're interested, please send me an email. If you're if you need questions answered, please send me an email. But I'll be making a final decision tomorrow. So, all right, Halok, just back in from laying on the beach in Tel Aviv.
well, I was at a meeting at Tel Aviv.
Okay. I knew it was
I could
something having to do with Tel
I
Aviv.
could see the beach.
Okay.
I'm not a beach kind of guy anyway, but
Yeah.
here we are. There are a couple of things that happened in the last 2 weeks that I basically just wanted to touch upon quickly. And then I thought, based on some reactions and comments that people have made to me, it might be helpful to go over what it actually feels like on a day-to-day basis here in Israel, what this war has been like, and seemingly where we're heading, as much as anyone can know.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, last week, Raisi, the butcher of Tehran, the president of Iran, was killed in a helicopter accident. We weren't involved in that, kids. Please don't write me notes saying, yay for the Mossad. Just say no to drugs, please. We did not do it. It was a helicopter accident. Please also don't tell me, well, now Iran is leaderless. You need to read a little about Iran. Iran is run by the Ayatollah Khamenei. He's really the guy calling the shots. They've got other horrific, demonic dictators and terrorists waiting in the wings.
No shortage.
Yeah. Now, of course, some clever Israeli came up with the idea, put it out on Instagram, that the pilot of the helicopter was a Mossad agent by the name of, now listen to this carefully, Eli Kopter.
Yeah.
And one of the French news services actually picked that one up. So, like, I have no words.
These are the same people in France that were waving a Palestinian flag in their parliament yesterday.
Yeah, this is,
yeah.
We live in a world that is seemingly has gone on the spin cycle, and it just keeps going around.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
A few days before then, Benny Gantz, who is in the war cabinet, and is viewed to be the leader outside of Netanyahu and Netanyahu's Likud that could potentially be the next prime minister, made a statement saying that Netanyahu has to announce a plan for the day after in Gaza. Otherwise, he and his faction are quitting the government. So I got a flurry of little messages saying, "Ha, you're right. The government is going to be toppled." Growing up in the Bronx, I received a very poor education, so my math skills are not good. But I can tell you that if Gantz and his entire faction leave, please remember that still gives Netanyahu 64 seats, of which you need just merely 61 to continue the government.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
forget about that. There's a lot of politicking and posturing going on. There's also a general misunderstanding of what things feel like here in Israel. Although literally, if I had a car and could jump in it, within 3.5 hours, I could be on the outskirts of Otef Aza, the Gaza envelope. We're that close. However, it is business as usual in most of Israel. That's the thing that, there are people who actually wrote to me, I couldn't believe this. I really appreciate your minute on the Mount, but how is it that you're outside? Now, let me explain. In the last 7 months, there have been 3 alerts here in Modi'in. An alert means that there is a missile that has been tracked and its destination is Modi'in within the city. All of them have been shot down by the Iron Dome. We have had, Baruch Hashem, thank God, no impacts. The siren goes off. You go in your safe room or in the building shelter. You wait 10 minutes. You come out, and that's it. Initially, bottled water disappeared off the shelves in all the supermarkets. Within a week, it was all back. Guys have come out of reserve units, men and women. A lot have gone back. It's very much business as usual. There are some businesses that have closed, in part because their owners and sole operators have been called up. In other cases, in the businesses that have been heavily involved in tourism, tourism has begun coming back to Israel. It is about 1.5% to 2% of tourism at a normal period. So you will see a handful of people, and going up to the Temple Mount, I have run into South African groups, Indonesian groups, and a group from Burkina Faso. I had to look up on a map where in Africa that actually was.
Yeah.
What was kind of funny about that is they are a French-speaking country. They had been ruled by France in the colonial period. That's the colonization that people hear about. So my buddy, who grew up in Canada and studied French for 8 years, had trouble conversing with them.
Oh, wow.
I know about 15 or 16 words or expressions in French, so they thought I was like kind of, bienvenue en Israel, welcome to Israel. And they were like, oh. Anyway, so people are coming, but it's not even tourism to speak of.
No.
The fact that I have at 40% of normal salary worked for 6 days in 7.5 months. This is no hair on fire trend, guys. So it's tough, but it is business as usual. You don't see war happening around you. It's like people used to say to me, well, you live in New York. I mean, like, how do you sleep at night with all the drive-by shootings?
Yeah.
New York's a really big place, kids. It really, it really is. I want to assure everyone the resilience of, particularly of our generation that is serving both in the north, in Judea and Samaria, and in Gaza are the most amazing. This was the generation that people here in Israel had questions about. You know, they seem to like to party too much. They like to dance. They like to dabble in psychedelics, whenever it is, as if their generation didn't, but
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
true.
yeah, I'm not pointing fingers.
No,
Um, but they have shown themselves to be amazing.
yeah, absolutely,
Um,
absolutely.
um, I think we're going to be very changed here in Israel. That doesn't mean we won't have these same silly arguments in the
Mhm.
Knesset. But as a society, it's just amazing. You get up every single day and you watch the entire world is truly coming against us.
Yeah,
Quick
absolutely.
example, and I've got a background story for you. So late yesterday, Mexico, ¿por qué? Mexico is joining this international lawsuit of South Africa's. So today I was filled in on some of the background story of it. A number of years ago, Hezbollah had approached the drug cartels in Mexico,
Ah,
saying, "We are experts in building tunnels. I'll tell you what, we'll make you a deal. We'll build tunnels that you could smuggle all your drugs into America. We just want some of the drugs that we can sell and get revenue from." So remember in the last number of years, 10 or so years, all of a sudden drug use in America soared. Like everyone's like, how did this happen? Well, that's how this happened. So you've got the cartel pressuring the government of Mexico, which is a bunch of puppets. And then you've got this. So I also
mm,
was thinking, thank God that we have stood up to the American government in Rafiq. And this is the thing that's amazing. It has become clear that our recent strike on the terrorists did not
yeah.
by itself cause any civilian deaths. Well, the world will never let us live this one down.
Oh no.
True or not is irrelevant. But again, nobody says, well, wait a second, how are they firing missiles from Rafiq? Remember, we're not supposed to be there, right?
Hmm.
How are they firing all these missiles? Why are we there? What about our hostages? How many are alive? Does anyone even, and that's the thing. Most of the world simply does not care.
Well,
Jewish blood is cheap.
let me ask you something here. Neither one of us are supporters of Netanyahu. For anybody that has any inkling of support for this guy, explain to me why, before there was any investigation, before the paint was dry, the ink was dry on the news regarding this, and that doesn't take a long time digitally. Netanyahu was apologizing for the IDF making a mistake. Instead of growing a backbone and standing up and saying, we do not have the necessary information yet
Yeah.
to be
And we will
making
investigate it.
this
Yeah.
call.
Yeah.
And we would appreciate it if you guys in the world would give us the same whatever to at least investigate before you blame us for something. And then when it is found out that it is not the IDF's fault, all of a sudden Netanyahu is, eating ice cream with Biden in somebody's basement.
Yeah. It really, this is a time when we need to say, we'll investigate it.
Yeah.
No further comment until we know more. Although the world has already, judge, jury, and executioner have already been out there, not only on this, but in every single aspect. I was just before we went on, Mike, I was watching a group of students at Caltech Poly in Humboldt or something with an H, some part of California, fighting with police trying to clear them out after they took over a building. And the language they used, I mean, America is in very, very deep yogurt.
Oh yeah.
And, people who are just sitting by, just kind of, contemplating their navel, it's not getting done. So this is a time, and we've said this in many different ways over the last several months, but this is really a time where, you have to choose a side. And for those who say, like, well, listen, I'm just in the middle of, Pocatello, Idaho here, and I can't do anything for Israel. Well, stand up and do something for America.
Yeah. I just recorded with Barry. I recorded my program because I'm running late this week because of Memorial Day. But I'll just mention briefly the thing that Josh Waller said at the Israel Summit regarding those that are pro-Israel versus those that are Zionist. Pro-Israel is being in the stands. Zionism is being on the field. Where do you want to be found? It's no more difficult than that. Barry brought out something real interesting that maybe you ought to run by BB next time you see him. That since all the nations are turning against Israel, wouldn't it be a cool thing for the prime minister and the Knesset to give a little quick phone call to the United Nations and say, we're no longer playing in your sandbox. We resign from this. I mean, talk about strength. But of course, the number of people that have that much strength in Israel is
Okay, but what people forget readily is that Israel as a nation has a desire
yeah.
and need to work within the framework of the world.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I
So
realize that. But at
yeah,
the same time, when all the bullies in the playground are against you, at some point in time you say, I ain't playing here.
yeah.
It's
Now,
like,
listen,
I mean, I don't need to quote you the scripture that says you're not supposed to be like all nations.
well, in many ways, we're not.
Yeah,
And it's we, like every individual that I've ever met, is a work in progress.
yeah, yeah.
And just a few minutes ago when I spoke about how our younger generation here is rising to unbelievable levels.
Absolutely.
Um, that's not I'm almost on the verge of packing for the US. And I'll be going to a lot of communities where the first thing that people will tell me is the trouble that they're having with the younger generation in their communities, congregations, and fellowships. That's become a frequent topic that they bring up to me. I wish I had some quick and easy solutions, but I don't. But they too are a work in progress. And it requires focus and energy to
Hmm.
make any kind of changes.
Yeah, yeah, it does. I want to ask you, Hanok,
Yes.
you were just in Tel Aviv. You could see the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
Um, are the waves there now like the big island of Hawaii with the pipeline? Uh,
Would
because
you be referencing that bizarre pier that has cost countless millions of American dollars
being
and
torn
doesn't work?
apart by 2-foot seas?
Yeah. Now, of course, since it can't be repaired in Gaza or in Egypt, it's got to come to Ashdod, which is just, I mean, it's, the whole issue, question is, why has this pier been built? There are two major reasons. One is that America feels that it has to show the world that it's doing something.
Or Biden needs to show Michigan.
Yes, that
Maybe that's it.
okay. It is not needed to feed Gazans.
No.
It is not even needed to fill the coffers of Hamas, who steals it and then sells it. And there's allegedly a concern that quote unquote militant Israelis will interdict, will stop the flow of aid coming in. Now, I wish we were able to do that. People have been doing it, and I give them enormous credit. And if I had a car and could get down there, I'd be doing it too. And the idea that we are feeding our enemies is astounding. I don't remember anywhere in history where the Allies were sending food to, bomb Dresden and Berlin until the war was over. Now, the other
Yeah.
reason America built the pier is they tried dropping by air those packages and they were killing Gazans.
Yeah. But
By the way,
that was not, I mean, that wasn't
you
a
see a
war crime or anything, because
falling
it wasn't Israel
in
doing it.
the sky, don't stand under it.
Yeah. You cut
Right.
out
There
there and
wasn't
I
a Jew
was,
involved.
yeah, you cut out there and I was talking over you. So sorry, I messed up your
That's
joke.
okay. That's okay. Don't worry about it.
I mean, I got a text from somebody and the other day, and I mean, I'm thankful for anybody that reaches out and tries to find some answers that they may not know about. I find it very easy to get the answers, but what about the aid and all the starvation and stuff? We can say without any doubt there is no starvation happening in Gaza that is Israel's fault. It is
No.
the fault of the United Nations. It is the fault of Hamas. It is the fault of Iran. It is the fault of Egypt. It is the fault of Jordan. It is the fault of all the Arab countries that will not take a single Palestinian into their country. But Israel gets blamed for everything, including children that are that don't have blood on them. You can see in the media. Okay, I was not in war, but I've been around. I've seen a little bit of blood here and there.
Yeah.
I know the difference between food color and blood.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know the difference between a red magic marker and blood.
We're living in an unbelievable world. Again, the other thing I want to point out to people, it is far more dangerous to be a Jew outside of the land of Israel than it is here. It is astounding the level of Jew hatred totally unleashed, and literally we are blamed for everything. We are libeled for everything. And for whatever reason, people who are even would consider themselves friends of Israel and the Jewish people don't seem willing enough to actually read a bit on their own to understand how to answer these accusations. It's really shocking.
I know. It I was just at the Israel summit last week as I broadcast from there, as we did our update prior to going in on Wednesday morning, I guess it was.
Yeah.
Wow, what an incredible time it was. But as I just said this morning on my Living Torah video, was there anything earth-shattering that I learned? No. Was it great seeing a lot of people? Yes. I saw
Sure.
people that I had not seen in 10, 15 years that were there. But I also was wasn't trying to judge anybody, but I was very cognizant of who wasn't there,
Yeah,
who did not send any representative. Uh,
yeah,
Whereas we had people come in from Oregon, Washington, mutual friends of ours from Phoenix area, and it was good to see those people that were there,
yeah.
and
That's great.
knowing who you can stand with in these days.
Yeah,
It's the sifting continues, Hanok. It really does.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In fact, I'm planning to bring a colander with me when I go to the States. And every group that I speak to, I'm just going to shake them through and see who hits the ground, who sticks.
Well, considering the amount of luggage that you carry, I would suggest you wait and buy that at Walmart.
Yeah, probably a good idea. Or Costco if someone will take me. I
That's
love
true. Yeah,
Costco.
you're more of the Costco guy. You know, I'm
I am now.
yeah, I know. Okay. Well, we don't have one around here, so there.
No, I know.
All right.
Sadly.
Yeah. If people are interested in no guarantees, the things that I have to we're working on right now, I just need to know the number of people that are interested so I can figure out if there's a way to get through this or not. As Hanok
Yeah,
said, yes, there is tourism, but there's a difference between taking 5 people or your family or something and taking a
yeah,
tour of 20 people. The logistics are very much different right there.
sure.
There is also, for those that are interested, I will plug our dear friends at Hayavel. There are a couple of tours coming up for them. There's one for youth, and to quote, I think it was Ishai Flesher and also Ari. They were asked, "What are the things that you can do right now? What's the best thing to do right now?" And their statements were: number one, teach your children the scripture.
Yeah,
What's the greatest thing you can do right now is teach your children the scripture. Number two is take youth to the land of Israel. There's a special ops thing with Hayabel coming up, and then Harvest, a 3 week tour and a 6 week tour, and tree planting and all kinds of things. ServeIsrael.com is there. So um, for
great.
those that are wanting to do, get on the field.
Okay.
Period.
I love that.
All right. Nice T-shirt, man.
Yeah. I think it's subtle. Yeah, people
Very.
seem stunned that I wear it up on the Har Bayit on the Temple Mount. Um, we really been pushing a lot going on there. We'll talk about it when I get to America.
See ya.
Yep. Take care, man.